Hey everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Always fun to be back.
So today we're tackling something that can really make or break anyone's success.
Yeah,
Personal accountability. They want to
definition.
look at not just what it means, but
Yeah.
you know how it plays out
Right.
in leadership, in decision making,
Yeah.
even everyday moments, that really test our character.
It's interesting you frame it that way because
Yeah.
the sources we've got today really hit on how accountability isn't some, lofty ideal.
Yeah.
It's like the nitty-gritty of how we actually operate.
Right.
So we've got insights from Poised,
Okay.
their communication coaching platform,
Yeah.
and then a LinkedIn article called The Power of Accountability.
And from what I've seen, they don't just tell us to be accountable.
Right.
They get into why it matters so much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking tangible benefits, not just feeling good about ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But before we jump into all the perks, maybe we should kind of nail down what personal accountability really is.
Yeah, because it gets thrown around a lot.
It does.
But I feel like these sources go deeper than just fessing up to mistakes.
Yeah, for sure.
So beyond admitting when we mess up, what's the core idea here?
It's about ownership
Okay.
on multiple levels. So not just the action you took, but the choice behind it and the impact it had.
So owning the whole chain reaction, not just the first domino.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, like a ripple effect.
So it's less about avoiding blame,
Yeah.
more about understanding our choices
Yeah.
have consequences and we deal with them head on.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how does this play out in real life,
Yeah.
especially for leaders?
Well, the sources give some really compelling examples.
Okay.
Poised brings up Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
And not just because he's, a historical giant,
Right.
but they highlight how he meticulously weighed his decisions, especially during the Civil War.
Huge impact.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So his commitment to accountability wasn't just ethical,
Right.
it was strategic in earning the nation's trust.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's easy to think of accountability as this individualistic thing,
Right.
but his example shows how it affects everyone involved.
Yeah.
Especially when you're leading.
And it's not limited to politics.
Okay.
The article contrasts Lincoln with Steve Jobs,
Oh, wow. Okay.
who, love him or hate him,
Yeah.
was intensely accountable for Apple's product quality and how customers experienced those products.
So two very different fields, but that through line of accountability is what drove their success.
Yeah, that's a strong argument they're making.
Okay.
Both sources really emphasize that it's this underlying principle that helps achieve incredible things.
Yeah.
And they go beyond just those big name examples to break down the benefits,
Okay.
both for individuals and for the teams that they're a part of.
Okay, so spill the tea. What are some of these benefits that make personal accountability so valuable?
So one of the big ones that both sources hit on is that accountability helps you walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
I like that.
Yeah. When you're the one owning your actions and their impact, it sets a powerful example for others to follow.
So it's about leading by example.
Yeah.
Showing your team, whoever you're working with, that this is how we operate with integrity and ownership.
Exactly. And Poised breaks it down even further.
Yep.
They say that being honest, positive, humble, respectful, and responsive are all crucial for leading with accountability.
Okay, so how does being humble actually play out in a leadership role?
Yeah,
Because it's easy to say, but harder to actually do.
totally.
Yeah.
They give this example.
Okay.
Imagine you're leading a team project
All
and
right.
things hit a snag.
Uh-huh.
Instead of blaming someone else or pretending you knew it all along,
Right.
a humble leader takes responsibility for not anticipating the issue
Okay.
and asks the team for their input on how to move forward.
So it shifts the focus from finger pointing to problem solving. And it empowers the team to contribute.
Right. And that ties into another benefit that the LinkedIn article highlights.
Right.
When you foster accountability, it creates this ripple effect
Mm-hmm.
that encourages learning and growth,
Yeah.
not just for the individual, but for the whole team.
Because when you admit you don't have all the answers, it gives other people permission to do the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you create this environment where everyone's more willing to learn from their mistakes.
Absolutely. And that leads to better decision-making overall.
Okay.
Speaking of which, Poise had some interesting advice on that front.
Oh, yeah.
They stress the importance of consulting others before making decisions,
Makes sense.
especially those that impact a lot of people.
Yeah, because getting different perspectives can help you avoid blind spots
Yeah,
and make a more informed choice.
for sure.
But how does that tie back to accountability?
Because when you involve others in the decision-making process,
Okay.
they feel more ownership over the outcome.
Okay.
So it's less about dictating from the top and more about creating shared accountability.
So it's like you're building this web of accountability where everyone's supporting each other and working towards the same goal.
Precisely. And both sources highlighted another key element of cultivating accountability,
Okay.
having an accountability partner or mentor.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about this.
Yeah.
But it always sounds a bit intimidating, like having someone breathing down your neck.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's not what they're getting at.
Oh, okay.
It's not about having someone nag you or police your every move.
Right.
It's about having someone who can offer guidance, support, and challenge you to grow.
So more like a coach than a warden.
Exactly. The right mentor can help you identify your blind spots,
Okay.
set realistic goals, and develop strategies for overcoming obstacles.
And they celebrate your wins, but also call you out when you're down.
Yeah, tough love when you need it.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah.
So it's about having someone who's invested in your growth,
Yeah.
who can offer both support and that healthy dose of tough love when needed.
And Poised even suggests using their real-time feedback tool
Huh?
to get specific insights on your communication during video calls.
Wait, that exists?
Yeah.
So it's like having a personal communication coach in your pocket.
Pretty much.
Wow.
It can help you identify those subtle habits or mannerisms that might
Mhm.
be holding you back
Okay.
and become a more confident and effective communicator.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
I have.
Defining personal accountability, its benefits, and even practical tips for how to build it.
For sure.
But before we wrap up, I think we should touch on the bigger picture,
Okay.
that ripple effect of accountability
Yeah.
that the LinkedIn article talked about.
Absolutely. They made a really compelling point about how personal accountability
Yeah,
doesn't just benefit the individual.
right.
It can positively impact teams, organizations, even society as a whole.
So it's like this chain reaction of positive outcomes.
Right.
Tell me more.
Yeah, it's like if one person starts taking ownership, it kind of inspires those around them to do the same.
Yeah.
And that creates a culture of trust where
Yeah.
people feel safe to speak up, share ideas, and take risks.
Totally. And the article pointed out that when teams operate with that foundation of accountability,
Uh-huh.
they learn faster from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to innovate and achieve those really ambitious goals.
Yeah,
And it doesn't just stop there. This ripple effect extends beyond the workplace.
it does.
So how does personal accountability impact, say, our personal relationships?
Well, think about it when you're accountable in your relationships.
Okay.
You're more likely to communicate clearly, honor your commitments,
Right.
and take responsibility when you mess up.
Yeah,
And that builds trust and strengthens those bonds.
that's a great point.
Yeah,
It's not about being perfect.
right.
It's about showing up authentically and owning your part in the relationship.
Exactly. And on a larger scale, the article argues that a society where individuals are accountable is more likely to be just equitable and cooperative.
Interesting.
Because when people are accountable for their actions and their impact on others, it creates a sense of shared responsibility for the well-being of the community.
So personal accountability isn't just some self-improvement buzzword.
Right.
It's a fundamental building block for success
Duh.
on so many levels.
Definitely.
It's about taking ownership,
Mm-hmm.
driving positive change, and building a better future for ourselves and the world around us.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into personal accountability, let's bring it back to you, the listener.
Yes.
What resonated with you most today?
What stood out as particularly relevant to your own life and goals?
Because here's the thing. We can talk about the benefits of accountability all day long,
Yeah.
but the real magic happens when you start applying these principles in your own world. Yeah. So we challenge you to think about one small step you can take today to boost your own accountability.
Maybe it's having an honest conversation with someone you've let down, or setting a clear goal and writing it down,
Yeah.
or simply owning up to a mistake and brainstorming how to avoid it next time.
Love it.
Small steps.
It's not about making these grand gestures. It's about those small, consistent actions that build momentum over time.
Exactly.
Accountability isn't about punishment. It's about empowerment.
Yes.
It's about taking control of your life, your choices, and your impact on the world.
Love that.
So there you have it, folks. That was our deep dive into personal accountability, what it means, why it matters, and how to cultivate it in your own life.
We hope you found it insightful and, more importantly, inspiring.
And if you enjoy this deep dive, be sure to like and subscribe to Deep Dives for more insightful explorations.
We're always diving into new topics, and we'd love to have you along for the ride.
Until next time, keep diving deep and keep striving to be your best, most accountable selves.